Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? I hope you're doing well. I'm having some coughing fits this morning. I've got, of course, my water here next to me, just in case. But I like to try and do these videos first thing in the morning. 'Cause it does take a while to upload them. Unfortunately, with the internet situation with where I'm at, it could take a while because it's not the greatest internet connection in the world. Excuse me. So yeah, I like to try and do them first thing in the morning. It gives it time, and then it also frees me to do things kind of the rest of the day, and in between I'm making sure everything is getting posted to the different social media and to the GoFundMe page and so on and so forth. So, for those of you who are just joining, welcome, okay? I hope that and for those of you who are returning, welcome back. Thank you, appreciate it. I know sometimes first thing in the morning it can be pretty interesting, but the way I look at it is that it does help you guys to see what those of us who are dealing with these situations go through on a daily basis. Okay, so and somebody here wants to say hi. There she is. I know my returning viewers always enjoy opportunities to be able to see her. Yeah, I know. I know she's been itching a lot past couple days with all these high winds. She deals with allergies, allergy issues. So. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, I started doing these videos last summer to record my health journey because I wasn't receiving the proper medical care that I needed to be receiving. And it was like doctors basically dragging their feet, getting misdiagnosed. Well, a perfect example as far as like dragging your feet is concerned. Well, the first pulmonologist that I went to go see, I was in severe pain in my chest. We had storms going through, which is a big trigger for the inflammation in my chest. And we had some storms going through that day, but then I went to go see her, and she thought I was having a heart attack, and I'm like, no, I'm not having a heart attack. I know the difference. I've witnessed that with my mom before, and so on and so forth. But I was trying to explain things to her. I had never even seen the doctor. I have no idea what she looks like. I was just talking to her technician. The person that you see when you first go into the office, or when you're first taken back, they get your vitals and so forth. So I was explaining it to him, and he was trying to explain things to the doctor, and they're like, we're calling an ambulance for you. Oh, great. So then I'm trying to explain things to the paramedics, and the lead paramedic, he went to go try and explain things to her, and all of a sudden I heard her explode, basically causing an argument with the paramedic and yelling at him, "You're not a doctor." And I was just like, and he comes back, and he's just like, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "Get me out of here." The hospital is right next door, literally right next door. I mean, it was like a 30-second trip to the emergency room. That's how, because the office complex was right there on site of the hospital. So at that time, basically the ER, I, of course, had the usual tests done. Of course, EKG showing, I'm not having a heart attack. Everything's fine. Chest X-rays are showing that everything's clear, so on and so forth. And ultimately, she gave me two options: either send me home with a couple of inhalers, which I had already been on and weren't working, or stay admitted. And I was given breathing treatments to at least help with the congestion that I was also dealing with at that time. which definitely helped clear a lot of crud out. But I would also be having a stress test and an echo done. It was a nuclear test as far as the stress test was concerned. So I agreed and went through all that and so forth, safe to say. And of course, everything came back fine, perfectly healthy. I was doing it primarily to circumvent, any future doctors, because there was no way I was going to go back to see her. Excuse me. So yeah, I figured, okay, let's just get this out of the way, so no future doctors could try and pull that either. So anyway, tried maybe getting into a physical therapist who does just physical therapy. Was having difficulties there with finding somebody who accepted my insurance. So then we went back to the idea, this is between me and my primary care physician, went back to the original idea of seeing a pulmonologist. And of course, unfortunately, the next person, it was like a 2-month wait to get in. And unfortunately, with around here, even if your insurance lets you just go see a specialist, they all require referrals. So that's a big issue. And then with the next, got it. I seen him and everything. He's like, okay, we're gonna have chest CT done, just to verify, because a lot of times X-rays don't pick things up. Have lab work done, and also we're gonna schedule you for a breathing test. And here I thought maybe a breathing test was something intensive or whatever, because the appointment for that was, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it was 2 months out. That's right. It was 2 months out. And I guess apparently there was only one person who did it in the whole company, and they had several locations around the valley. I was like, okay, this must be a pretty intensive test. I was thinking, maybe you're up on a treadmill or something, all this sort of stuff. Well, then I got the CT and the lab work done. But then they called me the day before the breathing test and canceled, because the person who administers the test no longer works on that day, which is Thursdays. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And they're like, no, we this is it's and I'm like, okay, when's the next appointment? Another 2 months. And then come to find out, the doctor who I was seeing was no longer working with the company. So we're looking at 3 months before I can even see him again, or to see somebody else within the company. And I'm just like, so we're looking at a good 5 months before I could even get anything or whatever. In the meantime, we have the wildfires coming in. We've from California, the smoke from the wildfires. We're dealing with serious allergy issues. They got really bad here last year. A lot of people were complaining about the allergy issues and so forth. I had been put on some allergy medication, which was not helping. And if anything, with the side effects, it was making my situation worse. And they had wanted me to, basically it was a nasal spray like Zyrtec or whatever, and they wanted me to do that and at the same time be taking this one over-the-counter stuff that I had been taking. Wasn't having any issues, but because of what happened with the nasal spray, it has left me sensitive with being able to take that particular over-the-counter anymore. I can't take it because it automatic side effects are, and they're just horrible. Terrible nausea and dizziness, lightheaded, and so forth. I mean, it's mostly the nausea where I just want to be sick in the bathroom all day, basically. So of course I went back to my primary, and I'm like, okay, I need another referral. This is what happened. He's like, okay, let's try this guy. But of course, it was about a month and a half out before I could get an appointment. And he takes a look at all the lab work done, the CT report, so on and so forth. And he's just like, oh, you have reactive airway disease. I'm like, okay, what is that? He's like, yeah, it's like pre-asthma. It's like, your body is reacting to stimuli. Not even necessarily just allergens, but also things like cold air, hot air, things like this. It's like, okay. And immediately he wants me to be put on an asthma inhaler. I guess there's like different ones, different categories. The one I was on before was powder based. The one he wants to put me on is a water base. And this one is geared more towards asthma. And and I went on it. I had to go right back off it. The side effects were awful. I started, and the leg cramps that I had were so bad, I couldn't walk for 3 days. So and it took me over a week to finally get some mobility going back in my legs. It was just so horribly bad. To say I did not take it any longer. I had called the doctor's office. Apparently, according to him, he did try to prescribe me a different one, but he claims that the pharmacy never filled it. They never got it. So I don't know where the hang-up was with that. But when I saw him again a month later, he definitely tried me on that one. The leg cramps weren't as bad. It was kind of helping, but then all of a sudden, I started with worse leg cramps and it's not helping. So this is what I have been, and then unfortunately, during this time, because I'm having difficulties being able to work, because basically with the wildfire situation, I got so terribly bad. By rights, I should have gone back to the hospital and gotten gotten on oxygen. But I was just feeling so horribly bad. I just wanted to come home, be with my baby, curl up and die. That's how bad it was. But of course I didn't. I didn't die anyway. I did curl up in bed. I wanted to die. But good Lord said, nope, sorry, it's not your time yet. You gotta stay here. It's like, okay. And in the process, I wound up getting evicted from where I was at, which is how I wound up in here. But the financial situation just got worse and worse and worse to the point. And I was fighting, trying. I was even selling things. I lost my storage unit. And then in the process, my car got repossessed. I was doing deliveries, so in that way I was staying away from allergens as much as possible, but then, like I said, my actually it was last week, my car got repossessed, so now I'm completely without a job, and I haven't had money to be able to rent a car, like doing one of those weekly rentals through Uber. And trying to rent a car I did try and rent a car through the airport, but I didn't realize that they were all requiring these substantial deposits, which I didn't have. So that's one of the reasons why I'm really kind of anxious with the money that I mentioned yesterday. It's basically a refund from a class action suit that I have been involved in for the last 4 years, and it's a refund for health insurance premiums before we had the Affordable Care Act. It's basically they were found in violation of antitrust laws. So, they agreed to reimburse all of those insurance premiums that I paid during those times. I'm just waiting for that money to come in. It's still not much, but it would be enough to cover me to be able to do a rental through Uber so I can get back to work and start to build up some savings and so forth without having to worry about, like car repairs or car registration or anything like that. I could have the option where potentially, fingers crossed, or maybe I might be able to do a down payment for another car, like a used car or something. But with what I was seeing, at least getting something through Uber, it's kind of, the mileage is high, like at least 90,000 miles. And of course, once you get around that 100,000 mile mark, we're looking at a transmission rebuild, So I'm a little weary about going that route, but at the same point, if at all possible, if I could get something, or maybe the training already has been rebuilt or something, then I can, take it out there for that test drive, which getting back to work with doing the deliveries. I was doing Uber Eats and DoorDash, mostly Uber Eats, but because I typically stay busier. At least it doesn't pay as well as DoorDash, but at least I was keeping busier. I'm not somebody who can sit around on their butt all the time. Believe me, with just sitting around on my butt that I've been doing around here for the last week is driving me nuts. Oh boy, yeah. So, but at least, if I did buy a car, at least it would give me an opportunity where I could automatically just hit the ground running once I get up there in Minnesota. So, it'd just be a matter of going to DMV, getting things switched over, and then of course too, I can get on their health insurance, and then I can get that appointment, get in their health insurance system. I could get that appointment with the Mayo Clinic and start getting help. So that's basically the background story with why I'm going there, because obviously, as you can see, I have not been getting any help here as far as medical care is concerned. I did, of course, too, because of how much money that I'm making with having to be, with trying to support myself here, paying a little bit higher rent. I just exceed the state's minimum as far as being on Medicaid was concerned. So I've lost my Medicaid, so I have no insurance now. And either way, Nevada insurance would not be accepted up there anyway, as far as the Mayo Clinic is concerned. And I started doing these videos, getting back to that, kind of a roundabout explanation, I know. But I started doing these videos because of all the issues that I was facing constantly with the medical community, with feeling like nobody is listening to me and nobody's believing me. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'm going to do these videos. I realize you probably are never going to watch them, but at least I have a record just in case to show you what I'm going through, So that's and if it possibly helps somebody else out in the process, so much the better. So there are some things that I had tried doing, that I have been doing, that have helped. Yoga stretches, various ones that target the chest area, help open up those airways. That has helped immensely. It helps get that oxygen-rich blood up into the brain, so I'm not dealing with brain fog as much and so forth. Essential oil, you have to. I highly recommend. Unfortunately, and I know I mentioned this in one of the previous videos, actually several previous videos, but here recently one of them. When it comes to essential oils, unfortunately, it's an industry that's not regulated very well here in the States. So you have to do your research as far as ones that are reputable. I do not recommend just going to like Walmart or grocery stores and just picking up something up off the shelf, okay? Do your research on them first, because there have been issues where impurities have been found and people got sick, okay? If you don't believe me, check out Better Homes and Gardens, okay, with the issues that they have had with their essential oils. That was about 4 years ago that happened. something like that. So that's what I mean. They're more expensive, but I highly recommend try and stay with organic. At least there's some sort of regulation that is going on. Or at least even if there's certain ones that you can't get in organic within a particular brand of essential oils, then at least you're dealing with a brand that is reputable and it's being sourced good. Try out different ones. Do your research. I recommend lavender, because lavender is not only very calming, but it's also an anti-inflammatory when it comes to not just chest muscles, but muscles in general. Okay. Also, rose essential oils helps with muscle spasms in the chest. I just read that here recently. And that's why one of the reasons why I've been so drawn to rose. It was like, well, I knew it was an anti-inflammatory also, but I was just like, why, I'm really drawn to that, especially when I'm having flare-ups. I'm really drawn to it. And I'll just take the bottle in those circumstances and just do it up underneath my nose. And it just calms right down. And I'm just like, why is that? And that's why. Peppermint oil is also another really good one. Try different ones. Don't just pull them off the shelf and start using them because, just see if you get a reaction first, okay? Pine is another one. Rosemary is another one. And eucalyptus can be another one. I myself have issues with it. I never used to, but now I have issues with it. But you could try different ones. And that's the thing, too. Sometimes I'll have an issue. Sometimes I won't, like cinnamon essential oil. Sometimes it'll be like, oh, gosh, get that away from me. But then here recently I went into my box that I keep all my excess ones in, and it was just like, oh, man, that felt so good to breathe in. It's like, okay, whatever. You do have to dilute them. Don't use them straight out of the bottle unless they've already been pre-diluted, like you'll find, like with Oracacia, that you'll find at Whole Foods and Sprouts. Their rose essential oils are pre-diluted. Most essential oils are not, so you have to pre-mix them in some sort of a base oil. Like I use sweet almond oil, organic sweet almond oil. Because otherwise you're basically taking that essence of the plant, basically the pollen of the plant, and you're putting it right directly on your skin. And once you have that sensitivity to it, you won't be able to use it again for the rest of your life. So you have to dilute it. Just a few drops. Okay, just take a small jar, glass jar, put some sweet almond oil in, with just a few drops of each of your essential oils, and and then shake it up, really good, and then you can apply it. You can also add it directly to your bath water. You don't have to dilute it first. You can, because the water will be diluting it. So if you want to run a bath, like a hot Epsom salt bath or whatever, just drop a few drops of essential oil in there, and you're good to go. Okay. Another thing that has helped me, but a lot of people, especially asthma people or asthmatics, have issues with these. Even with it not burning, it just, for me, it calms it right down. I use these ones I get from Prime. It's a 3-pack. You can buy larger packs if you want to. These ones are wrapped in rose petals and lavender, and they are organic, so they're being sourced ethically. Okay, and of course, again, proper regulation. Even like I said, even if you just burn it for a little bit or whatever, and you just, it just feels so good. It's like, just calms it right down. So if you're dealing with long COVID, try it. Give it a shot. Another thing is what I call my Chinese torture device. It's basically an acupressure mat and pillow. You can, those spikes, there's these little spikes. I'm not going to get it because we don't have a whole lot of time left. It's basically these little round discs that are on the mat and pillow, and with these spikes, okay? And I put like a thin cloth, like a real thin pillowcase or something, or a thin T-shirt or something like that on it, and you can lay directly on it. But what I was doing was I was taking, because of course I'm a girl, I'm a woman, so of course I had to deal with these things, okay? You'll find that it can be a bit blunt. I was taking the pillow and putting it like right here, right straight down my chest in between my breasts, and then taking the mat and rolling it up, and then like a pillow and putting it across here, because those were my main problem areas. Obviously, I don't need to be worrying about pain in my breasts all that terribly much. But if you have breast sensitivities, and so forth, that's just do like a T there. Throw on some meditation music, and lay down and throw on, set your alarm clock for like about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that. It'll take a little bit to get yourself comfortable, yeah, because it's gonna poke still yet. After a while, once your body gets used to it and everything, what it does is it releases endorphins and so forth, and to attack those particular areas to help calm things down. Okay, you can get acupressure mat and pillow for just get a cheap one. Don't spend a whole lot of money, because it's the spikes at some point. I've had mine for about 6 years now, something like that, and the discs are falling off. So, $25-$30, something like that. That's all that you need to spend. Don't spend a whole lot of money on one. It's nonsense, really. So, and the cheapest place that I have found them is up on Prime. So try those things, okay? Try different things. Exercise can help, especially with getting the oxygen-rich blood going throughout your body, help replenish and so forth. I had to, obviously, with what I was talking about before, I had to resort to my own homeopathic methods because I wasn't getting any help. So I'm in hopes, with going up there, that I'll get some help. And that Facebook group has really opened my eyes to a lot of things, like possibility of being diagnosed with fibromyalgia. That has been discussed up there. False lab results that happened with me. I went into menopause last summer with everything that was going on. I had gone into it the previous summer, but that was when I had first become a diabetic. But with the lab results that came back, they were showing that I was still going through my cycles. Last summer, on the other hand, my lab results were even thrown, and they were showing that I was in menopause. And then all of a sudden I started getting my periods again. So obviously I wasn't. But COVID, long COVID, will do that. There was one lady who was even saying that she had gotten, her lab results came back showing that she had a mold, MOLD, toxicity in her body. And so her and her husband spent like $3,000 to have their property tested, and there's absolutely no mold whatsoever anywhere on the property. So that I was reading can possibly be an issue. So be prepared for that. Also possibly get diagnosed with things that may not even run in your family. So, and I kind of wonder if it's the reason why the type 1 diabetes gene got triggered in my body, because I was having no issues, no signs of prediabetes beforehand. Yeah, I was a hypoglycemic. I was born one. But as far as diabetes was concerned, I was having no symptoms at all whatsoever of it. And then all of a sudden, 4 months later, bam. So it's very possible that that's what happened. Because of the imbalance that COVID causes within the body, it just causes your body to start triggering things. So I am finding that out with being in that Facebook group. That group has helped a lot, and it helps you not feel like you're alone too. And that's been a big issue with me, is feeling like I've been alone this whole time. People not understanding, you know. So I hope that this does help some of you, and I look forward to talking to you all again soon. If you can, please donate. If you don't do it for me, do it for a little Itchy down there who's sleeping at the foot of my bed, okay? She loves her mommy. Yeah, and I have to be here there. I have to be here for her. So, I love you guys. All right, I'll talk to y'all soon.